dobber in die potholes. Johannesburgse strate het vanaand golwe. Gryp jou sweeftuig, ou styf vas. Plons, plons, stamp en swaai. Nog 'n as is oorlede. Arme ou Helens, hulle het met 'n glimlag getuimel in 'n slag het geval wat diep genoeg is om binne te swem. Kameras flits oral, sy het gewaai net soos 'n koningin. Rugslag in die pad gedoen, asof dit 'n oortoneel is. Die teer is heeltemal gekraak en verkrummel, die baanlyne het verdwyn. Jy het 'n bergreddingsspan nodig, wat net 'n rad oorskakel. Daar is taksies wat sink uit, ontwyk soos 'n slalom afdraande wedren. En elke reënerige middag word 'n waterpark skande. Straatligte flikker, robotte dood, duisternis dans oor hoofse. Oor die krag op wekkers gons, nog 'n kragonderbreking het uiteindelik gekom. Ons dobber in die slaggate, plons deur die pyn. Probeer om nie in nog 'n somerreën te hidroplaneer nie. Dobber in die slaggate, lag net om te hanteer. Sing deur die chaos terwyl ons aan 'n tou hang. Kan enigiemand die roep hoor? Voordat die hele ding begin ineenstort. Die treine ry nie volgens skedule nie, want die kabels is almal gekraak. Hospitaalplafonne lek terwyl die waglyne dik word. Elektrisiteit is 'n gerug wat 'n uur per dag verskyn, dan verdwyn soos touwerkrag wanneer die rekeninge betaal moet word. Intussen drink politici skemerkokkies by die see. Konvooie vlieg verby die skades wat nie die fooi kan bekostig nie. Die mense jaag eindeloos vir brood en gemoedsrus, terwyl beloftes van die parlement nog moeiliker word om te vind. Raadsale, hoeke, parlement, skelms en blinkklere. Safers wat stil maal, wonder hoe dat gebeur het. Ons dobber in die slaggate, dryf deur die vloed. Probeer ons vaardigheid boer die stygende modderhou. Dobber in die slaggate, alle klere langs mekaar. Swart en wit en bruin, saam op hierdie hobblerige rit. Almal voel spanning, dans kaalvoet in die reën. Die gangsters dra ontwerperspakke, of kruip weg agter amptelakke stewels. Sommige dra gewere, sommige dra stemme. Sommige glimlag net en maak al kele skoon. 32 lang jare verby, vra die mense steeds, hoekom? Vryheid moet nie verval beteken nie, of skraap net om elke dag te leef. MKC, emancipasie, mense roep, red dan die nasie. Vryheid van die eindelose gierigheid, vryheid beteken die mense lei. Ons dobber in die slaggate, maar ons het nog nie verdrink nie. Het steeds ritme, het steeds vuur, het steeds onbetaalde skuld. Dobber in die slaggate, sim hard en duidelik. Miskien as ons genoeg skree, gaan iemand hoor. Johannesburg verander, swembadens en strate. Dans op ineenstortende ritmes. Ons gaan steeds op een of ander manier voort. Suid-Afrika, ons het jou nou nodig. Plats, plas, stamp, stamp. Nog 'n band wat loskom, maar die musiek bly aanrol.
Monday, July 6, 2026. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's your daily inoculation. Welcome back to the program, folks. It's your daily protection, your prophylaxis against disinformation, misinformation, hysteria, hyperbole, yellow journalism, fake news, and hate wankers. Welcome back to the program on this Monday afternoon here on the East Coast of the United States, Monday evening in South Africa, and different parts of the day for different parts of the world as we go around the globe. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. It's a pleasure to have you join me once again. Boy, the Belgians are up in arms, very, very upset about the beautiful game. I'll be making a video called Football, the Beautiful Lie, about how soccer is incorrectly named football, number one. Number two, soccer can't tell time. And until they can tell time, it's not a real game. And number three, the opposition to video-assisted replay, which screamed for years by the purist, and now they're the biggest proponents for it, the hypocrisy. The game is the big, beautiful lie. That's what the beautiful game is, the big, beautiful lie. And now listening to these idiots running around talking about last night's game, England was the best of the whole tournament. Are you high? Did you not watch Argentina nearly lose to the 67th ranked team in the world, who had the most beautiful goal of the entire tournament, kicked right over the heads and into the corner? You know, this nonsense. These people have the attention span of a gnat. They're like squirrels. They can't remember where they hid their nuts. Soccer fans are sometimes just so annoying, they can't even remember what happened 5 minutes ago. The best game of the tournament. No, it was an atrocious game of the tournament. It was boring. It was dull. Mexico had nothing in the tank whatsoever. They only got the push for 30 minutes at the end because of a stupid red card that never should have been a red card. And beyond that, England just fell back in defensive mode. Didn't even try to attack. 2 or 3 times they went forward. That was it. They went into defensive mode to cling on to their 3-2 victory. Boring. Great defense. Fantastic. But if I want to watch defense all day, I'd watch the NFL. Boring. Boring, boring. Well, the big, beautiful lie. That's what beautiful game is. I will be slammed by people the world over who are ignorant of rugby, the best game out there. Anyway, maybe one day they'll learn. President Cyril Ramaphosa has deployed the South African National Defense Force to protect criminal alien invaders from the continued attacks coming from the domestic terrorists, some of whom claim to be members of March and March. Shame, shame, shame. That's what's happening in South Africa at this hour. Ramaphosa deploys the army to help with law and order. President Ramaphosa deployed 3,400 soldiers to assist in responding to anti-immigrant protests. First off, they're not immigrants, they're foreign illegals. They'll deploy in all provinces. Great, watering down, 3,400 soldiers. 9 provinces, what's that? A couple hundred per province? Let's see. Square mileage, let's see. So 9 provinces, so 3,405 soldiers. 3,405 soldiers divided by 9 provinces means you get 378 soldiers per province. That's not enough to stop a march in Peter Maritzburg, let alone do something. Unbelievable. Yeah, this is just wallpaper. They're just papering over the problems in South Africa. Deployment's expected to last until July 31st. In a letter to the chairman of the National Council of Provinces, Rafiwe Msweni Tsapani, the president said the soldiers would be on standby for any eventualities. Really? Any eventualities. Are they trained in crowd control? Are they trained in riot control? And it will cost $54,600,000. So add that $54 million to the $610 million already spent for June 30th. This continuing effort by domestic terrorists in South Africa to target illegal aliens instead of Home Affairs targeting them is costing South Africans tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of rand. There you go, folks. That's what's happening here as the army will be deployed. Yes, 3,405 soldiers. That is just so impressive. Let me just take a look and see. What is a square mileage? Covers 1,000,000 221,000 square kilometers. So let's just do the math, okay? So that means that 1,221,000, whoops, that's not right. 1,221,037 square kilometers divided by 3,405 soldiers means there'll be a soldier every 358 hectares. There's enough soldiers to deploy one every 358 hectares in South Africa. Seriously. There's more troops deployed in D.C. and Atlanta than there are going to be in the entire country of South Africa to deal with criminal alien invader attacks. Wow. Well, we were your backbone. Polite, respectful, hardworking Zimbabweans have fled the country. Upwards of 60,000 say the Zimbabwean government in Harare. Add 35,000 that we know of, at least, if not 50,000 Malawians. And we now have seen over 100,000 black Africans flee Afrophobia, racist xenophobia, South Africa. Over 100,000 foreign nationals have fled the country under the threats of domestic terrorist group, which is dictating the domestic and foreign policy of the government of South Africa. I love how the government of South Africa says, we are sovereign. We will not be dictated to by Donald Trump. No, you'll be dictated to by Jacinta Nkabisi Zuma. We are sovereign. We will not be dictated to. Oh, but you will by domestic terrorists. Aidez-moi. Aidez-moi. It's too much. It's too. We are sovereign. We will not be dictated to. South Africa will make its own friends where it wants to. If Jacinta says you can. Did Jacinta say you could make friends there? Well, then you can make friends. Zimbabwe has confirmed that nearly 60,000 of its citizens returned home in the past 2 weeks. This after anti-immigration groups' ultimatum that demanded undocumented migrants leave by June 30th. Returning Mildred Sango warned the South African economy would decline without Zimbabweans because they filled essential roles and carried out menial jobs that locals were too lazy to do. Yep, the cumulative total returnees repatriated by the government Zimbabwe stood at 11,000. The cumulative total itself at 47,000. That puts them at 60,000. 58,768 as of July 2nd, which was 4 days ago. They're well over 60,000 at this point. Wow. The city of Cape Town has supported Zimbabwe consulate with 16 buses. They are used to us working for them and you abusing them. We have been working their wine fields, working their supermarkets. We've been doing all the menial jobs that they have been incapable of doing. Well, they're capable. They're just lazy. The blame lies in Zimbabwean government. Remember, in the year 2000, we chased away productive farmers, which also affected thousands of farm workers. We also destroyed our manufacturing industry, and so many companies and people left for neighboring countries, particularly South Africa. Now they are facing serious challenges and will be difficult to settle in the political economy of Zimbabwe because they have been used to systems that work. Well, South Africa doesn't work. Not sure what systems he's talking about. But South Africa doesn't work. I think he's confused. I think he hopes that South Africa works, but it clearly doesn't. That's political analyst Precious Shumba. Well, she's partially correct. Malawians continue to camp outside the urban drive-in as xenophobia fears persist. Hundreds of Malawi nationals have been camping outside the urban drive-in. We were told by Mayor Silchaba that was closed. It's no longer open, but it's still open. I've been in South Africa since 2019, but now I have come here because of my work. I need work, payment, and documents. Unfortunately, I don't have anything. That's because you're a criminal alien invader. You violated the sovereignty of South Africa. And as a consequence, the president of South Africa, Jacinta Nkabisi Zuma, Cyril Ramaphosa, wants you to leave. Nigeria is threatening international action. Probably going to go to the International Court of Justice. Wouldn't this be hilarious to see Nigeria take South Africa to the International Court of Justice for the murder, the xenophobic murder of its citizens? I'm not laughing at the murder. I'm laughing at the fact that South Africa will soon find itself in the docket at the International Court of Justice. You can't make this news up. People ask me why I do the news because it's so entertaining. Nigeria alleges 2 of its citizens were killed by police in separate incidents. The government is demanding urgent investigations and warns of possible international accountability. Take them to the ICJ, Nigeria. Take them to the ICJ. Nigerian government has sharply criticized South African authorities following the killing of 2 of its citizens, accusing security officials of criminal liability. Will pursue regional and international action if these responsible are not held accountable. In a strongly worded statement issued on Sunday, Nigeria condemned what it described as the extrajudicial killing of Emeka Charles Irogbu, allegedly killed by members of the Shawani Metro Police Department during an interrogation on June 20th. They murdered him during an interrogation. Terrible things are happening in South Africa, folks. Terrible things are happening. According to Nigeria, no arrests have been made despite the identities of 4 officers being known to the South African Police Service. They also highlight an earlier case involving Nemeka Matthew Andrew Epakiong, allegedly killed by the same Metro Police officers on April 20th. So the Johannesburg Metro Police Department, who often in conjunction with Red Ants, steal, beat, and abuse illegal squatters on land owned by the city of Johannesburg, are now also purportedly torturing and murdering Nigerian nationals. Wow. Well, the International Court of Justice could deal with this. This is a dispute between 2 states, Nigeria and South Africa. Nigeria, Abuja, hear my call. I urge you to take South Africa to the International Court of Justice over this dispute. Please do so. Sweet justice for the ANC with their bogus case against Israel. Gauteng exceeds Lenacapavir rollout target in the first month. But I thought, but I was told that it was horrible. The United States excluded South Africa from this trial. But apparently it's part of the trial of this drug. What's going on here? Wow. Medicine available 133 public clinics across Gauteng. Gauteng Department of Health has exceeded its first month target for rolling out Lenacapavir, a long-acting HIV prevention drugs, prophylaxis. More than 6,100 eligible people are receiving the drug since the program launched in June. But we were told that you weren't doing it, that you were denied access to this drug. Wow. It's now at 133 public clinics. Expanding access to comprehensive HIV prevention services, particularly among populations at an increased risk of HIV infection, remains a top priority of the department. Let me translate that for you, folks. If you can't keep it in your pants, just go get a jab. Yeah, well, let's talk about what that drug is. And first off, you're welcome, South Africa. You are welcome. Lenacapavir is a first-in-class HIV capsid inhibitor developed by Gilead. Gilead Sciences Incorporated is an American company. It's been approved in the U.S., the European Union, and South Africa for pre-exposure prophylaxis to reduce the risk of sexually acquired HIV in adults and adolescents weighing at least 77 pounds. It's also recommended by the World Health Organization twice a year injectable HIV prevention. Clinical trials have shown to be nearly 100% effective in protecting against HIV transmission. Ladies and gentlemen, South Africa, you're welcome. South Africa, the country whose leaders attack America, belittle our president, and lie about America, once again are proven wrong because this drug is in South Africa. And oh, by the way, you can thank us for spending tens of billions of dollars to develop it. Once again, Americans to the rescue, as always. The Democratic Alliance calls for lifestyle audit on Social Development Minister Dina Pule, and I think that's a fair statement. DA is hot on the heels of newly appointed Social Development Minister Dina Pule, leading the charge for a lifestyle audit to be conducted on her. The party has written to the Director General of the Presidency as well as the Secretary of the Cabinet urging for an audit to be performed. This follows the DA's earlier step against her. DA demands that upon her coming to office, a lifestyle audit be immediately conducted. This will provide a baseline upon which her ministerial tenure may be measured. Ladies and gentlemen, today, July 6th, 2026, the Democratic Alliance has demanded a lifestyle audit for a private citizen who is yet to become a minister. I encourage them to pursue this. At the same time, the hypocrisy of the Democratic Alliance, where is the lifestyle audit for Mr. Uber Eats? John Steenhuisen, a man who could not pay his credit card bill and had a judgment against him, a default judgment for failure to pay his credit card bill? $6,000 for a man who makes $150,000, $200,000 a year? John Steenhuisen, who had his party credit card suspended, a man who clearly outlives his lifestyle at the age of 50-something, cannot even own a single tangible asset? How about a lifestyle audit for John Steenhuisen? Anybody up for that? Lifestyle audit for John Steenhuisen. Let's have one of those. Let's have a lifestyle audit for John Uber Eats, the white minister of ag. Oh, sorry, the former white minister. He's still a deputy minister. So how about a lifestyle audit for him? DA, where are the lifestyle audits for all of your senior leaders? I'd love to see them. How about you make them public? How about you make them public? We'd love to see the lifestyle audits of the money that was paid to DA ministers and deputy ministers to bump up their salaries. Money given to you by the likes of who? Do you get your money like the ANC from the Bato Royal Trust or Chancellor House? They don't, but they get it from rich South Africans. How about lifestyle audits for the DA? Anybody up for that? I'd love to see lifestyle audits for the Democratic Alliance, especially John Steenhuisen. New laws against invasion of private property in South Africa with a 2 million rand fine or jail time for anyone inciting it. This is related to the Poppy Act, which Joe Emilio exposed with his brilliant documentary. Department of Human Settlements has extended the commitment period for the new Prevention of Illegal Eviction from an Unlawful Occupation of Land Amendment Bill by a month, the PI Act. But all this will do is target people who incite others to steal land. It doesn't actually protect the property owners unless I misread it. Maybe I misread it. But major update to the PI Act, which is a criminal piece of legislation that allows criminals to invade your property and claim it as their own, and you cannot evict them. This is a disgusting, disgusting development, and it should discourage all investment in South Africa. All investment in South Africa. Fake Way. Counterfeiters are targeting Cape Union Mart's iconic K-Way brand. There's Peter Steph Dutoy wearing a puffer jacket in the mountains with lots of sheep in the background. Puffer jackets, soft shell jackets, and beanies are particularly vulnerable to imitation by black market players. As South Africa's listed economy shows no signs of slowing down, outdoor apparel brand Cape Union Mart is facing what many retail brands fear most, the proliferation of counterfeit products. For Cape Union Mart, around since 1933, it's the illicit sale of its iconic brand K-Way that is most pronounced. The group, which is owned by the Kravitz family and led by its patriotic Philip, told Business Day that K-Way counterfeiters attempt to capitalize on the brand's recognizability and consumer trust. Well, I only purchased K-Way and the little goat in Cape Union Mart stores. So if they're selling them there, if they're selling K-Way material that's fake in their stores, that's on them. I go to the store and expect quality. Hopefully those are all originals, not knockoffs. Well, an Arab company is taking over Shell in South Africa. 600 petrol stations will be owned by Arabs. Yes. Abu Dhabi's biggest oil company is close to sealing a deal worth $1 billion to acquire Shell's South African fuel retail business, giving the Middle Eastern energy giant control of nearly 600 petrol stations across the country. If complete, the acquisition will hand ADNOC distribution ownership of around 600 South African service stations, roughly 10% of the country's fuel retail market. Yet another step of turning South Africa over to people from the Middle East and from South Asia. The sale of South Africa to people from that part of the world is interesting. The decolonization of South Africa leading to the recolonization by Arabs and Muslims. You gotta love it. You've got to love it. Let's decolonize South Africa and hand it all over to the Middle East and South Asia. Sure. Okay. This story by John Elegant in the New York Times is self-serving, whining about apartheid throughout the story. Look at this. Almost no white people, completely wiped out of the horse racing scene. White people are almost non-existent. In South Africa, where the black majority has been excluded from the economy for generations, that's not true. The last 3 generations have had access to the economy. Stop lying. The annual Durban July event is a chance to celebrate luxury and high society. Sure, and there's no whiteys left. Look at that. There's 2 white people in that picture. And arguably, they may not even be white. They might be Indian or colored. Plates of oysters, prawns, and sushi sat at Ashwin Reynolds' table. A singer performed soothing R&B, bartenders poured sparkling wine, and the guests in the suite at a horse racing track wore fitted suits and fancy floral headpieces. They're celebrating the removal of white people from society. Look at this. John Elegant celebrating no whiteys. Look at the sideline there. Not a single white person at this year's Hollywood Bets Durban July horse races. But they do spend lots of time talking about how the jockeys are all white. Oh my goodness, look at that. Oh, well, how terrible. The jockeys are white. We have no white spectators left, so I guess we can't have any white jockeys. The grandstands mostly attract those interested in horse racing who buy an $18 ticket and don't wear the same elaborate outfits as those coming to party. Many in the grandstand are South Africans of Indian descent. It's the event that everybody leaves everything behind for a day. The racial tension, the bickering says, Vishal Ramlakan. Well, look at this. No whiteys. No whiteys. Whites removed completely from South Africa. 3 black jockeys have won Durban's main race. I thought you said there were no white, they're all white jockeys. Remove the whiteys from society. There you go. Remove the whiteys. Oh, gotta love it. Yeah, gotta love it. No more whiteys. No more whiteys at the horse races. Oh, all the whiteys are gone. They're happy now. They're happy now. The removal of whites from society in South Africa. It is, of course, the ultimate objective here. The Rainbow Nation bullshit, and whites are not under pressure, and there's no cultural genocide against whites. All lies. Well, the ANC's abysmal 35%. Carol Patton writes that Gareth Van Onselen finally does some analysis and says, imagine this, the ANC is collapsing. Welcome to the party, Gareth. Welcome to the party, DA. Or not DA, News 24. I've been telling you this for 6 years. The trends are downward. The trends are downward. The ANC is becoming irrelevant. I've been telling you that for 6 years. And now, in 2026, News 24 gives you a breaking story by Gareth Van Onselen, his deep, deep analysis. Now that he's had 6 years of data to make the point that I've given you for 6 years about the collapse of the ANC, now it's a news story. Don't you just love the fake media? Don't you just love the yellow journalism? 6 years after the fact, they latch on the fact that the ANC is unpopular, that it's collapsing. Ladies and gentlemen, what analyst told you the second week of November 2021 that the ANC would get 38 to 42% of the popular vote in the 2024 elections, a full 3.5 years before the election took place? Anybody know who it was? Can somebody tell you what analyst went out on a limb, analyzed the election data, looked at the demographics of the country, looked at the reality, and gave you 38 to 42% prediction? Who told you that? Who told you that? It wasn't Gareth Van Onselen. It wasn't News 24. It wasn't the Afrobarometer. It was me. It wasn't you, Cool Beans. It was me. Oh, my goodness. 38 to 42%, I said, and they came in at 40%. But now it's big news because Gareth Van Onselen has told News 24's Carol Patton that they're unpopular. You think? You think the ANC is unpopular? And there's the DA, also unpopular. There they are. They peaked in 2025 after the GNU, and now they're back down to 37% in by-elections. Yep. And I told you the EFF would never go above 15% nationally. That outlier is not nationally. That was a by-election average, 15.23. IFP, MK, PA, that's the frightening one right there. The PA, which was as low as 14, has jumped up to 36%. Freedom Front Plus. Anyway, so now it's news. I've been telling you for 6 years, boy, now they're going to claim they were predictive and they told you that the ANC was unpopular and it's losing support. Except they didn't. Except they didn't. Where were these predictions 6 years ago? My track record's there. The video is available. You want to troll through it? Go ahead. Of course it was me. Cool Beans. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here's a shocker. The coastal city becoming the new semi-migration hotspot in South Africa. Anybody want to guess where that's at? What is the new semi-migration hotspot in South Africa? Is it Hermanus? Is it Gordons Bay? Is it Eiserfontein? Is it Margate? What is the new semi-migration? What is the new semi-migration location? Anybody other than Last Domino? Cape Town, Eiserfontein, Hermanus, okay. J-Bay, good guess. Hermanus. Amasymtoti. Nope. 2 people got it right so far. 2 people got it right. Last Domino and Pizza Party. Apparently, Port Elizabeth is experiencing a residential property boom as multi-billion rand investments pour into the metro. Shocker. Data from Statistics South Africa census report reveals that Port Elizabeth now has 57 active operations in their industrial zone, employing 11,243 people. It's 14% growth. Just Property Port Elizabeth franchisee Andrea Stevens said that the special economic zone stands out as one of the metro's key economic engines. Multi-billion rand clean energy initiatives. There's Andrea Stevens. She said the surge in clean energy initiatives is creating hundreds of corporate engineering and technical positions. Along with Transnet's ongoing infrastructure upgrades, the $2.2 billion liquid bulk terminal expansion, the multi-billion rand relocation of the regional manganese facility to increase capacity to 16 million tons are all significant long-term economic anchors. People are increasingly realizing they can enjoy a similar coastal lifestyle to the Cape or KwaZulu-Natal for less. Have you been to PE? I've been to PE. You can move there all you want. Well, the International Federation of Football, properly known as soccer, where it was invented in England and it was named soccer, has changed the red card for Florian Balogun so he can play against Belgium. Thank you to FIFA for doing what was right and reversing a great injustice, said President Donald Trump. Team USA will be able to face Belgium in the World Cup round of 16 with its star striker after all. Florian Balogun was dealt a red card for a foul he committed during his match against Bosnia on July 1st. It was a conviction that not only ejected him from the game, but also left his team shorthanded for the remainder of the game and came with one game suspension. While the Stars and Stripes were able to pull off a 2-0 win without him, fans unleashed their fury at the call across the internet. Not just American fans, but international. Even forward Christian Pulisic and head coach Maurizio Pochettino denounced the call in post-match interviews. It then appeared they and the rest of Team USA would face their second elimination game without their top scorer. However, FIFA announced on July 5th, yesterday, that Balogun does not have to serve that one-game suspension right away. In fact, he does not have to sit out for a game for an entire year. Now, before you get too excited, and before the people lose their minds, this is the hypocrisy of soccer fans. They did the same thing for Cristiano Ronaldo so he could qualify for the World Cup. They did the same thing for Cristiano Ronaldo. And they've done this in the past. They just haven't done it in the World Cup. It's long overdue. President Trump says he instigated the review of U.S. players' World Cup ban. President Trump acknowledged today that he asked the head of World Soccer's governing body for the review that ultimately led to the remarkable reversal of U.S. players' one-game suspension. Mr. Trump said he disagreed with the decision of the referee to issue a red card, which would have caused him to miss Monday's knockout. That wasn't a foul. It wasn't even an infraction, he told reporters. Inside the White House campaign to overturn a World Cup red card. The decision by FIFA to rescind U.S. striker Florian Balogun's one-game suspension followed a rapid response from the Trump administration and a personal call from the president. In the hours after the U.S. secured its first victory in a World Cup knockout match in more than 20 years last Wednesday, the mood inside the White House was anything but celebratory. The game, held 2,400 miles away in Santa Clara, had been marred by a controversial red card for the Americans' top scorer at this tournament, striker Florian Balogun, and it meant he would automatically be suspended for the next match. That's when senior Trump administration officials hatched a plan that would go down as one of the most audacious in 96-year history of the World Cup. Never mind that the World Cup's governing body fiercely protects its role as a final arbiter of what happens within the white lines of pitch, or routinely metes out draconian punishment for political interference. The White House was going to take it upon itself to turn a refereeing decision into a matter of state and reverse a call in a soccer match. And FIFA President Gianni Infantino, the man Trump once called king of soccer, officials knew they could count on a willing ally. So they completely forget that this was done for Cristiano Ronaldo just a few months ago. And soccer fans would prefer than an injustice. Most of them said it was an injustice at the time. Even The Guardian, the leftist hate-wanking publication of note in the United Kingdom, said this was an unjust red card. It was unwarranted, yellow at worst. But now they're all unhappy. They would prefer to see an injustice. These are the people who prefer to allow rapists and murderers to invade their European countries and degrade their countries and allow Muslims to pray on sacred Church of England ground, yet arrest Brits for carrying a flag because it offends somebody or saying bacon. They would prefer to have that injustice occur. Just like in soccer. They would prefer that an unjust red card be given to someone bogusly just to keep the purity of their bullshit laws in their boring-ass game, and then try to convince us that the Mexico-England game was the best game of the tournament. The best game of the tournament, hands down, Cape Verde, Argentina. Argentina is so lucky that they won that game. They should have lost it. Cape Verde, the darlings, who did not lose in regulation, never lost a game in regulation in the World Cup, yet are sitting at home. The beautiful game, my ass. What a bunch of hypocrites. What a bunch of hypocrites whining about this card being overturned. It was unjust. Just like Cristiano Ronaldo's red card was overturned earlier this year. Belgium expresses shock after FIFA lifts the players. Yeah, because they're afraid they're going to lose now. The American striker Florian Balogun is able to play in a World Cup match against Belgium after soccer officials reversed his one-game ban. Belgian officials expressed shock and fury over a FIFA announcement on Sunday that it was lifting a one-game suspension against a star player before a World Cup game against Belgium. Maxime Prévost, Belgium's foreign minister and a former soccer referee, said the decision could undermine FIFA's express commitment to fair play. Fair play? The fair play would be for FIFA to review the red card and rescind it the day that it happened. It was illegitimate. There was no intention behind the player. He certainly didn't try to tackle the guy's ankle, and even if he tried, that would have been an impressive feat to pull it off. Both jumping in the air for the ball. Absolute nonsense, just like the penalty last night against Harry Kane. Both he and the opponent kicked for the ball. The opponent angled his leg in front of Harry Kane, and Harry Kane got a card? He didn't get the card. He got a penalty, and they got a free kick, which allowed Neymar to save his reputation by scoring a cheap, easy goal in the England game. Should have been 3-1. Should have been 3-1. Total BS call. A penalty because the player crossed his leg over your leg and fell down. What a ridiculous game. What a ridiculous game. Whiny Belgians. If they lose this game to the United States, the whining will never stop. We will be hearing about this in 30 years. Oh, FIFA stole the game. No, you lost it on the pitch. And just like watching that game, you know the worst game of the tournament, which before England's game last night was called the best game, was the Paraguay game. Well, the Paraguay game was a disgrace against France. First off, it's West Africa against Paraguay. It's not France. It's West Africa. There's one Frenchman on the team. West Africa against France. And the Paraguay players were thugs. They were cheats. They should have had 35 red cards in that game. Not a single red card issued. But they're not talking about fair play in that because the West Africa team advanced. And the soccer purists love it. Kick all the white people out of the game. We love this. And then France advances. But there should have been a bunch of red, and there should have been a yellow card issued to that arrogant Mbappe, that asshat thug. That asshat thug Mbappe should have been issued a yellow card for his conduct. But nothing happened because they're hypocrites. The beautiful game is the beautiful lie. The beautiful game is the beautiful lie. Absolutely ridiculous game. Our game, not theirs. Klopp slams FIFA's Balogun decision. Jurgen Klopp criticized FIFA's decision to overturn Florian Balogun's suspension, calling it crazy, saying politics should not interfere with football. Former Liverpool coach Jurgen Klopp slammed FIFA's decision. Former Liverpool manager Klopp, who is set to become next Germany manager after Julian Nagelmann's resignation on Friday. So if Julian Nagelmann actually hired Germans to play for the German team, maybe they would have advanced. And Jurgen Klopp can shut his cake hole. Because he would prefer an injustice occur rather than what's morally right. What a ridiculous sport. It's a joke. FIFA stunned. FIFA has stunned the soccer world by doing what's right and moral and just. By allowing USA's Florian Balogun to play in Monday's game, Trump's role is under a microscope. Why should it be under a microscope? Trump made a phone call. Trump gets things done. You know, the DA says it gets things done. You know who gets things done? Donald Trump. The DA gets things done. No, Donald Trump gets things done. FIFA sparks a soccer controversy over red card. Oh, my goodness. The most stunning controversy of the 2026 World Cup erupted on Sunday after it emerged that President Trump personally intervened to have U.S. striker Florian Balogun reinstated for the team's round of 16 game against Belgium following his red card. That's the controversy? The controversy is overturning an illegitimate red card so that the best players can play. So you don't want the best players. You just want your favorite teams to advance. We don't want the best players to play at the World Cup. By the way, I hate soccer, so it's not like I'm all excited because it's U.S. So we prefer the best players be benched over a bogus card given by an official who lost control of that game. He completely lost control of that game. Wow. Australian PM apologizes for his Kylie Minogue comments. Hey, Albany says he would shag Kylie Minogue. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese apologized for suggesting in a recent interview that he would shag Kylie Minogue. Who would shag Kylie Minogue? He was asked to nominate which Australian entertainer he would shag, marry, and date when appearing in a local comedy podcast. Oh, Kylie, clearly, he said after trying to duck the question. You'd marry Kylie, shag her, and date her? Podcast host Nikki Osborne responded. Albanese said, all the above. The comments were swiftly condemned, with one Australian lawmaker describing them as disrespectful lapse of judgment. She is Australia's widely beloved princess of pop. She shot to fame in the local soap Neighbours before embarking on a successful music career. What was her first big hit? Locomotion. She did Locomotion. What a ridiculous song. But Kylie Minogue is awesome. Kylie Minogue. So, I will just say it on record. I would just say it on record. Given the opportunity, would I shag Kylie Minogue? I don't know. I don't know. Come on, man. You got to give me a like just for the Kylie Minogue shag story. Oh, it's too much. It's too much. England sees off an immense challenge from Mexico in what may be the best game. No, it wasn't the best game, Hannah Kieser and Cal Felsher. No, the best game was Cape Verde, Argentina, hands down. England saw off, there's Jude Bellingham, who was the star of the game, saw off an immense challenge from Mexico, beating one of the tournament co-hosts in their home stadium after seeing one player sent off in a game that will go down as one of the best of the World Cup. It might have been one of the best, but it certainly wasn't a great game. Yep. Anyway, so England took a 1-0 lead. Beautiful shot by Jude Bellingham, his header.
Bukayo Saka.
Boom! What a header. That was absolutely brilliant by Jude Bellingham. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yep. And then the second time he got it.
Great run forward. England have it again with Anthony Gordon.
And here it comes the second time. Oh! Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. That's the athleticism that makes the game interesting. It's all the whining that doesn't make it interesting. Norway defeats Brazil. 5-time World Cup champion. Brazil is gone. They were pathetic. They were boring. And Holland, the star. The guy looks like a Cro-Magnon, but I'm suddenly becoming a fan. I like Bellingham, great player. I like Balogun, great player. Pulisic, great player. I've become a Haaland fan after watching him score 2 goals, brilliant goals, a header, and just a great long-distance shot which went right through the legs of the defender and caught the corner. Haaland was brilliant. This guy is absolutely brilliant. 64 goals in 52 international appearances. Nobody has that track record. That's insane. No man loved her in the 80s. Who? Kylie Minogue? I loved her, Kylie Minogue, in the 80s. She was brilliant. There you go. Norway wins 2-1, and Brazil is out. Norway stuns Brazil to move to the quarterfinals for the first time ever, and it was great. The Norwegian rowing. I love the Norwegians, man. The Vikings are awesome. So cool. They have the best jerseys. They have the best game acting, and they have incredible talent on the pitch. Oh, by the way, the Norwegian main newspaper in Oslo, instead of celebrating the Norwegian win over Brazil, do you know what they talked about? How come we don't have more people of color on our team? The Norwegian leftists are angry that there's only one black player on the Norwegian side. It's freaking Norway, genius. 2 late goals from Norway's Erling Haaland on Sunday knocked out mighty Brazil, sending the 5-time World Cup champions home in a round of 16. And do you know what I love the most about Haaland? Do you know what I love the most about him? After scoring a goal, he doesn't run around like a monkey, dancing up and down and jumping and going, ooh, 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 look at me, look at me. He just smiles and looks to the crowd and waves to the crowd. That's it. No ridiculous celebration. What a stud. 64 goals in 52 appearances. Oh, I hope he wins a Golden Boot. The first goal of the 79th minute broke a long stalemate as the ascendant Norwegian team held off. Brazilian team is no longer the World Cup powerhouse their fans expected me. The second scored with his left foot came right at the end of normal time. Brazil scored a penalty in the final minute of the game, making the score 2-1. Now this is great here. Let's get this one.
Give me one chance.
Here we go. This is brilliant. Check out this header by Haaland. Wow, that was incredible. That was incredible. Here you get a better look at it this way. I love this shot here. Here's Haaland right in front of the net. Check it out. Look at this. Norway's only black player coming in. Actually, he's mixed race, I think. Here's the man. What a stud. Norway, the exciting team. The USA and Norway, Cape Verde were the 3 most exciting teams in this tournament thus far. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Instead of acting like a fool, he just scores. And this is what he does. Look, he puts his hands up to the crowd. That's it. That's it. Doesn't run around like a fool. Well, Neymar has quit. The injury-plagued Neymar in his final World Cup got a final goal courtesy of a bullshit call. The injury-plagued striker converted a penalty but failed to take his team into the last 16. Neymar says he's done playing for Brazil's national team, making the announcement after he and his teammates were knocked out. I tried. It started here at MetLife, and I finished here. It's now over. Neymar, 34, played his first game for Brazil in 2010, a friendly against the United States in East Rutherford. He is Brazil's all-time top scorer and ironically got his first goal for his country ahead of global football icon Pelé. Against Norway, he scored from a penalty kick in the final minutes after being brought on as a substitute. He collapsed in tears when the final whistle went and had to be consoled by teammates. He appeared in only 2 of Brazil's 5 games in the tournament due to a calf injury. He was also held to just 15 minutes of play against Scotland group play. The best player for Brazil for over a decade has been slowed by injuries recent years, and his impact has been limited. Time for the next generation of Brazilian players to take over Brazilian football. Strait of Hormuz traffic is steady now. UK Maritime Authority says that ships are transiting. Although the threat level remains substantial, 10 Japanese-linked ships exited the strait after a long delay. British Maritime Authority said today that commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz has stabilized following last month's U.S.-Iranian Memorandum of Understanding. That's good to hear, and shipping will pick back up to normal. China tests long-range ballistic missiles in the Pacific, which is pissing off its neighbors. China test-fired a long-range ballistic missile with a dummy warhead into the Pacific, the first such launch in 2 years, prompting alarmed countries to criticize the move as destabilizing. Was launched from a Chinese nuclear-powered submarine and sent a mock warhead into the Pacific Ocean. The ballistic missile landed accurately in the designated area. Wow. September 2024, China fired a nuclear-capable intercontinental ballistic missile carrying dummy warhead across the Pacific into waters near French Polynesia, drawing condemnation. Yep, the Chinese are provocateurs. They need to be dealt with. Australia and Fiji pledge cooperation against China. A new defense pact to face the common danger together. Australia and Fiji have signed a landmark mutual defense pact to counteract any common danger in the region. The deal is similar to one struck in October last year, while the other larger Pacific nation, Papua New Guinea, maintains mutual defense pacts only with New Zealand, the United States, and now the 2 Pacific nations. Well done. One Nation proposes English-only government services, scrapping multiculturalism. I love it. One Nation Senator Sean Bell said current policies promote translated government services and multiculturalism were encouraging a separation of society. 100%. During an interview with Sky News Australia, One Nation Senator Sean Bell said his party supported a single Australian culture and would ensure English was the primary language used in government services. It should be the only language used. Should be the only language. Now, it's not a question of how big Fiji's defense is. It's a question of a mutual defense pact means that the Australians can put troops and bring ships to ports of call there, defense ships. That will make all the difference in the world. The typhoon, which I told you about, has hit Guam and U.S. territories, Northern Marianas. Category 5 storm. Typhoon Bavi lashed Guam and the Northern Mariana Islands with powerful winds and heavy rain Monday. downing power lines and prompting warnings of potential flash flooding. Funny, we have power lines down here and flash flooding taking place right here in central Pennsylvania at the same time. Russia launches a deadly attack on Kiev ahead of the NATO summit. Wow, that's a crime against humanity. That's an apartment block. That's not a military target. Russian missiles and drones hit Kiev early on July 6, killing 12 people and heavily damaging apartment buildings just a few days after the deadliest assault on the Ukrainian capital this year. This war is not ending, folks. Not ending. Who's making racist comments? Where are my moderators? You see a racist comment, remove it. It's unfair for people to sit here and let a racist comment pass. Take care of it. Turkey is hosting NATO summit while cracking down on its critics. No free speech in Turkey. In the weeks leading up to the two-day event, the Turkish authorities blocked websites, jailed scores of people over allegations of terrorism, which weren't terrorism, and arrested a prominent comedian. In the weeks before the NATO summit, Turkey is going crazy. They also barred a cruise for gay men from calling it at Turkish ports. A fascist totalitarian state like Turkey hosting the NATO summit. Yeah, barring gay ships from making port calls, arresting a comic, putting people in jail, claiming they're terrorists for free speech. Meanwhile, we're giving Poland the F-35 fighter jet, stealth fighter. It has been delivered to Poland. They've got their first F-35s. Look at that. Wow, Poland, long a member of the Warsaw Pact, is now equipped with the most advanced stealth fighter on the planet. Sky agrees to buy UK's ITV media business in a $2.1 billion deal. It includes UK broadcast channels ITVX streaming, UTV, but will not include ITV Studios and STV, which remain separate companies. Sky has agreed to buy ITV's media and entertainment business and deal worth up to $2.1 billion, bringing together two of the UK's biggest television companies. Well, nothing like consolidation to limit choice. Nothing like consolidation to raise prices. Nothing like consolidation to punish consumers. You got to love it. President Trump says he overruled the plan to cancel the mall celebration amid the weather evacuations. The chaotic scramble to seek shelter at the Salute to America event in July 4th raised questions about whether officials had adequately prepared for severe heat and threatening storms. President Trump said Sunday he personally overruled the recommendation to cancel the 4th of July salute. He took the stage just after 11 p.m. Saturday after more than a 3-hour delay. When I heard it was canceled, I immediately overturned that decision. He congratulated law enforcement officials for quickly rescreening people who wanted to return once the storms passed. The 350,000 people was reduced to a crowd of about 150,000, and that was pretty impressive, actually. So they managed to get them through the magnetometers and check all those people, 150,000 people. At least 19 people are suspected of heat-related deaths in New Jersey alone. New Jersey Governor Mickey Sherrill said hot, humid conditions expect to persist across the state. At least 19 suspected heat-related deaths have been reported in New Jersey over the 4th of July weekend. Wow. A few were outside the residence, some on the street, and some even in parked cars, noting the fatalities involve elderly people and young adults. Young adults. Shouldn't be happening to them. The White House is condemning, going after. There's a report accusing the Smithsonian of extreme political activism. The 162-page report on the National Museum of American History marks an escalation of Trump's criticism of Smithsonian museums. A new report from the White House accuses Smithsonian's National Museum of American History of extreme political activism and blames museum leaders for erasing America's heritage. The report, titled Saving America's Story, published Saturday, is the result of an executive order by President Trump signed in March of last year, demanding improper ideology be removed from the Smithsonian museums. The central finding was the museum leadership has explicitly adopted an ideological framework that no longer treats the American story as a shared national inheritance to be taught or celebrated, but as a political instrument to divide, dispirit, and discourage our citizens. Wow. I'm going to have to read that report. I'm going to have to read that bad boy. And here it is. Saving America's Story. How the ideological capture of the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of American History erases our heritage. The Smithsonian Institution, one of the nation's greatest civic treasures, a place where parents bring their children, tourists from across the country, around the world, come to learn about America. At the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History, visitors, young and old, should encounter the story of the United States told with honesty, seriousness, and pride. In particular, it should help the American people understand where America came from, what makes it distinctive, and why it's worth preserving. In making their case to Congress in 1953, the Smithsonian leadership argued that one of the main reasons it should be created is to place where millions who visit the nation's capital each year for a stimulating permanent exposition that commemorates our heritage of freedom and highlights the basic elements of our life. In 1955, then Smithsonian Secretary Leon Carmichael testified to Congress that if authorized, the museum would tell the story of American national progress and cement America's progress for citizen and foreign visitors alike. The museum we envision is planned to instill in each citizen a deepened faith in the country, destiny as a champion of individual dignity and enterprise. Equally, it is conceived to instill in each foreign visitor admiration and respect for ever-expanding social and technological horizons. 2 months later, based on that promise, Congress authorized the museum's construction and allocated $36 million to build it. Wow. The then director of the U.S. National Museum, Remington Kellogg, noted the museum opening in 1964. The museum was intended to awaken in citizen and foreign alike a clear understanding of the inspiring story of the United States, its origins, struggles, development, traditions, and strength. One curator who worked at the museum for nearly 4 decades before retiring in 2016 noted the museum's founding goal was more than simply to increase the diffusion of general knowledge. It was intended to be proudly patriotic. However, that has changed. The shift from history to activism is clearly demonstrated in this report. Anthea Harding, National Museum's director since 2019, explicitly stated that she sees history as a prime tool of social justice, and one of her roles is connecting research and scholarship to activism and advocacy. She also stated that we work to reframe the traditional celebratory narrative of U.S. history for visitors. She claims to have a personal head start, propped up as I am, by the cushions of whiteness and the pillows of bourgeoisie. Hartwig believes the museum profession has to figure out how we're going to problemize the 250th anniversary. So this racist scumbag attacked America by running the American Natural History Museum. And this is long overdue. These scumbags need to be removed. So the Americans were upset about a 2% tax on tea, and we started a revolution. But most Americans don't realize they're paying upwards of 41% tax on. What do you think the 41% tax is on, folks? Solar panels? Starbucks? What do you think we pay 41% tax on? Anyone want to guess what we pay 41% tax on? This country started a revolution over tax on tea and, our civil liberties and, quartering of troops in our houses. But tea was the fuse that lit the bomb. What do you think? Anyone want to guess? Is anyone watching? Coffee? Good guess, Debbie. It wasn't coffee. We pay 41% tax on a beverage in this country. Not sugar. Well, that wasn't fair. You didn't know I was going to say beverage. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Hello, Emery. Electronics, income tax. Well, yeah, some of us pay more than 41%. We pay 41% tax on, South Africans would pass out if they see this. Beer. What? If you detect a bitter aftertaste in your beer this summer and can't quite put your finger out, maybe it's not the hops, but hidden taxes and fees. Somebody remove Chris's comment. Doesn't need to put that word in there. For a country that historically raged and rebelled against beverage tax, the U.S. is surprisingly comfortable taxing alcohol. Yet most citizens aren't even aware of just how much of their beer is being poured down the government's gullet. Federal, state, and local taxes equal about 41% of the overall cost of beer, according to the Beer Institute and National Beer Wholesalers Association. Wow. The original beer price plus federal excise tax plus state excise tax equals the beer price on the shelf. Retail sales tax on top of that after the excise tax is put on it. While federal excise taxes can range from $3.50 to $18 a barrel depending on the brewer's output, each state has its own hidden taxes. Buying a 12-pack in D.C., that's an extra 90 cents including the price tag before sales tax. Tennessee comes in with the steepest state levy at $1.50. If you buy in bulk, Wyoming's excise tax only runs 1%. On top of excise tax, some states let localities slap an extra levies. In Anchorage, Alaska, for example, there's a 5% sales tax on beer and other booze. At 5 drinks a week, you pay $1.90 on Pennsylvania's hidden beer tax every year. Every Pennsylvania adult pays an average of $2.60 on state's hidden beer tax every year. Excise taxes don't just allow the government to conceal their full take at the register. They favor some beverages over others. The Founding Fathers drank heavily. Days before signing the Constitution, George Washington and his crew hit Philadelphia's City Tavern to celebrate. The inflation-adjusted tab, which included more than 100 bottles of wine, 30 bottles of beer, and 8 bottles of whiskey, would have cost the well-lubricated patriots upwards of $17,000 today. Luckily for them, the first federal excise tax on alcohol to put down the Revolutionary War debts wasn't enacted until 1791. Tennessee has a very high beer tax. Look at that, as do Alaska and Hawaii. Pennsylvania, the average beer drank per week, 6.7. I don't drink 6.7 beers a week, so somebody must be drinking 13. Wow. Hidden tax on a 12-pack compared to neighboring states. Maryland has 67 cents. New Jersey, 14. Pennsylvania is 9 cents. Wow. We are getting sucked. Six Factor, welcome to you for becoming a member. We appreciate your support for the program. So, U.S. measles outbreak. Well, this becomes from lunatics not inoculating their children and putting their lives at risk, as well as criminal alien invaders who bring their pestilence in this country without being screened. The nation is already nearing last year's record total case, and experts say the virus is forcing doctors to relearn a disease that many thought had been consigned to history. Well, yeah, if you get MMR vaccine, then you won't have this problem. The United States on the brink of surpassing last year's total measles cases, putting the country on track to set a new record before summer's end. The impending milestone underscores how the country has entered a new phase in the battle with measles, with repeated new infections, the disease igniting sustained outbreaks in multiple states. Since an unvaccinated child in West Texas developed measles early last year, successive outbreaks have sickened thousands of people and have spread to 39 states. Last year, the U.S. reported 2,288 cases from measles, the highest since it was eliminated in 2000, and most in more than 3 decades. The U.S. is now poised to reach that level in roughly half the time, with 2,170 measles cases as of July 2nd. This is insane. Absolutely insane. Look at this. 2020, 2021, almost nothing. Now look at this. As vaccination rates decline and measles spread wider, those outbreaks are becoming harder to extinguish. There are fewer people to investigate cases. Communities most affected often remain difficult to reach, and a generation of doctors getting crash course in diagnosing and managing disease that many have rarely, if ever, encountered. State health officials fear their outbreaks may never end and say the actual number of cases is far higher than official counts reflect. Look at this. All over the frickin' country. Only Kansas and Arkansas seem to be free of cases. 2 states. Pennsylvania is a cluster located very close to where I'm at. Wow. Unbelievable. Utah's got a ton of them. What's going on out there? And North Carolina, South Carolina, as well as Florida. Alaska seems to be free. Maybe we'll get under control here in Utah, but other states will go through what we just experienced and it'll come back. Wow. Vaccination rates are plunging. See where your school stands. Look at this. This is insane. This is insane. After the pandemic, many counties increased their vaccination rates, reaching the recommended level of protection. But far more are leaving only about a quarter of the country as the herd immunity for kindergartens. This is insane. Vaccination rates. Well, Pennsylvania is mostly vaccinated except for those 3 counties I just talked about. Wow. Let's zoom in on Pennsylvania. Look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin and Tennessee are nasty places for this stuff. Pennsylvania, we got mostly vaccination. Let's go over here. So vaccination rates. 93%. These are each of the schools. 93%. 89%. 97%. Look at where the non-vaccination rates are. Mostly where leftists are. Philadelphia, Pittsburgh. That's where most of them. In Harrisburg, well, Lancaster. That's the Amish. They're not getting vaccinated. This is a disgusting scourge. We eliminated this stuff. Microsoft is cutting 3,000 jobs from its Xbox division. Revenue's fallen, and Netflix-like subscription services far below expectations. They'll lay off 1,600 people this week and 1,250 more during the rest of the fiscal year that began this month. They're also selling or spinning off 4 game development studios and exploring strategic options for a 5th. Moves that will make at least 350 more people taken off their payroll. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma. I love how Indians are put in charge of all the tech companies and then they fire all the Americans. All the Americans. They put them in charge of Yahoo. They put them in charge of Google. They put them in charge of Facebook. They put them in charge of Microsoft. And what do? They get rid of all the Americans. They fire all the Americans. That's unfair. These companies aren't making money, so they should be able to fire people. That's the news for today, folks. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. 404 people still here. Don't go anywhere. I'm answering questions now. 318 likes. Can't we do better than that? You guys can do better than that, and I'd appreciate it. Right, let me see what the chat says. PlayStation is dominating. Yep, Xbox is toast. I can remember the case that was a few months ago. There was a few hundred viruses. I don't know what that is. Okay, the dots. itself look like an infection of some kind. No, that's just the colors to let you know. Irene, welcome to you. Dan Peterson, surely not natural. What's that? Nothing in Nevada. What's the big issue about measles? What's the big issue? It's deadly, Corey. It's the big issue is it's deadly. And we have lunatics in this country who believe that immunizations are dangerous. Attenuated viruses are not dangerous. That means they're dead. Your body sees the RNA and provokes a response to protect you. So when the real virus comes, you're protected against it. It trains your immune system. The days of using a live virus are pretty much gone. Oh, everything's out to kill us, but not just us, Cool Beans. It's everybody. Every form of life. Kits off used to run KVW in Cape Town. Really? I'd love to have meet and greet in Cape Town. I'd be very grateful to meet some good people. Well, new Olive Dove. You know, some things come true. Maybe your whistle will come true. We'll see. Maybe there will be a meet and greet in Cape Town. If I ever come to South Africa. Should I come to South Africa, folks? Should I come? I'd do a poll, but somebody will say no. Somebody will say no, you shouldn't come to South Africa. Otherwise, I'd do the poll. Yeah, what's this? This is, what am I getting? There's a bookmark there. What do they want from me here? Oh, they want me to give them money to help protect TRICARE. Okay. Military Officers Association America, MOA. Grassroots supporters. They're trying to safeguard military pay. Okay. Absolutely bonkers. Okay. Yeah. 41% tax on beer. That's crazy. That's crazy. Odin's Viking got it right. So did 1440. Beer it is. Beer it is. It sounds like the South African government rewriting history to suit their narrative. Exactly. That's what's going on. 5-year stint in Germiston. Okay. Vlad sent his super yacht to Turkey. Really? Okay. Can I tell you guys how hot Houston's been? I warned people. Oh, Texas. Oh, we're boors. We want Texas. No, you don't. No, you don't. It sucks. Go to Houston. Go to San Antonio. June, July, and especially August. Oh, my goodness. It's horrible. Horrible. You can have Texas. You can have Florida. You can have Mississippi. You can have Alabama. Not interested. Yep. What's your thoughts on the upcoming NATO summit? Waste of time, Dan Peterson. Oh, they're all going to try to get money for Ukraine. It's a waste of time. Yes, Rust the Monkey. I've seen Elon Musk post that. I've seen, what's his name? Benny Johnson post that. But I haven't seen the YouTube message. I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's real. I don't know if they're all being punked. Here the news, UK is telling YouTube to push the BBC and the propaganda rather than normal people. Yeah. No. They're telling them that they're forced to hide our content. How can that even be legal? How can a government tell the press to hide content? That's wrong. No, but that's what's happening. Well, it explains a lot of the shadow banning. But YouTube has been doing it voluntarily for years. She played in the Soapy Neighbors. Well, I read that, Marissa. You're talking about Mariah. No, I mean, Kylie Minogue. Yeah, I know. I've been a huge Kylie Minogue fan since she was a hot young chica. When she couldn't sing, she got good. But you know who loves Kylie? You know who loves Kylie more than anybody else? And I don't get this. The gay community. She's an icon for the Australian gay community. I just don't get it. I don't know why. Kylie Minogue. Brazil missed the first penalty. Brazil had a chance, but never took them. Yes, Charles, but the Norwegians earned that game. Yes, I'm hoping that Morocco knocks out France. It's a good chance. Morocco was they lost to France last time, but they came in fourth in that ridiculous, gutter German. Remember that? Disgrace themselves. Non-Germans out there doing this. Act like a bunch of fools. No, the Germans would be well suited to actually bring Germans to play for their team. Pizza Party loved Neymar during his prime. Never a fan. Yeah, and Leona says he's an ass drama queen. Good riddance. Completely different views of the same guy. One comment after the other. That's pretty funny. Holland doesn't misbehave. Okay. Yes, Ramaphosa only sends people after crap hits a fan. Yep. Thanks for speaking up for South Africa. You're welcome. It's always about color. That's what makes me upset regardless of country. Anything that's always, oh, whites were bad. They do wrong color. People are perfect. No. The Norway goalie should... Oh, yeah, the Norway goalie was the man of the match. Hands down, Leone. That guy was brilliant. He was brilliant. And so was the English goalie last night. What's his name? Pickford. That guy was incredible last night. He kept England in the game. What an incredible performance by Pickford last night. There's been some really incredible goalie performances. I mean, look at the Cape Verde and Argentina game. Vorontsov had 8 saves, clear saves. Man, look, there's some really good goalkeeping in this tournament, which is ironic because we've also had a raft of goals scored. But when you have 48 teams in the tournament, you're going to have this happen. So we've got 3 people on 7 goals. We've got Mbappe, the punk from France or West Africa. Mbappe. You've got Lionel Messi. The funny thing about Messi is it's his 6th World Cup. His first 3 he didn't score a goal, and now he has 20, the most ever. He beat not Jurgen Klinsmann, it was Miroslav Klose, the so-called German, actually ethnic German from Poland. Yep. Yeah, I know it's row, but it's the Norwegians are fun. Yeah, Haaland is amazing. Who's a liar? I don't know. You call me a liar, Heidi? Who's a liar? They are great actors. Soccer is such a rugby. Kylie, about 15 years. No, Kylie's still hot, Cool Beans. She's very attractive. Do you think President Trump or Marco Rubio knows about the denial letters? Of course. What's my analysis, Pizza Party? My analysis is there are people spreading false hope and lying to people. As I said, my analysis was the letters were genuine. And then I got sources that did confirm that they were genuine. So if the sources are lying, my analysis is wrong, then we're wrong. But it's now been a week since the letters were issued, and the U.S. government has said nothing. Well, there was a 4th of July weekend, but then ORR hasn't responded to my request from last week either. So maybe there's a possibility something's going on here, but there's an awful lot of people who are saying unequivocally that these are not legitimate letters. The problem with that, folks, why doesn't he do the same for farmers? Do what for farmers? What are you talking about? Walter Marshall, what are you talking about? Farmers. Portugal and Spain. Yeah, Portugal, Spain, USA, Belgium tonight. This is a big day. Today should be interesting games. Okay. Okay, Heidi said I'm a liar because I don't know if I'd shag. I don't even know. You got me there, Heidi. You got me there. Okay, I did see it was out of context. That's why I have to ask for clarification. That was out of context. Yes. Again, what's the thing about farmers? I don't understand that. What's about farmers? Did you delete your message? I don't see the message here now. Did it get deleted? Yeah, Walter Marshall deleted his message. Walter, what's your question about farmers? What's your question about farmers? I don't understand. What are you telling me? Well, I can understand why the gay community loves Cher and Dolly, yeah. But Kylie Minogue, they'd just fall over for her. Interview at the embassy. I must say that person made me feel like I'm the problem. She honestly made me feel like a dog. Just being truthful and didn't like that. Rusta, I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't say. Chris says, okay, whatever. Well, stop using bad words. Did you see the article about 2 Southerners getting abused? I saw that, but someone sent that to me, but I don't know if that's real. I don't know if that's real. I haven't heard from those people, and I don't know if those are tourists or if they're refugees or what's going on. I can't play the whole thing. I'll just put it on the screen so you'll see what I'm talking about. So hang on. What's going on here? Why is it doing that?
We are South Africa.
Yeah, I don't know if this is real. I don't know where this is. I'm trying to figure it out. But this is supposedly in America, and it was put on TikTok, so I'm not going to play long. I don't know. So I want to know where this is at. These are South Africans. So supposedly, yeah, here you go.
We are South Africans.
Well, you need to go back to your country. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I think you need to change your attitude. That's what I
You
think
need to go back to
need
your
do.
country.
So I need to see more about this and what's going on here. I don't know what's going on. They point to the guy and says, that's your wife. So I don't know if because they were gay or what's going on, but Something's definitely odd there. But yeah, I saw the video. I cannot confirm or deny. If those people are real, someone should get them to reach out to me. The email address for ORR is on the description of this video. Is it not, folks? Is it not? Is it not there? Every time the video comes up live, is it not underneath the description? Let me look and see. So Night Owls, it's not on Night Owls. I think it's on the news program. Let me look at news. Chris Wyatt Reports. There it is. It's right there. It's under every video. See, people don't even look. It's under every video. It's under this one too. Every news program. It's also on how to do it under my 14 April, I think it is, video explaining how to contact ORR and what you should tell them, what format to use. Apparently, these are TikTok creators a rage bait for a few. Okay, wait a second. RC said it's real, but it's rage bait. So it sounds like the whole thing was staged. That's what I said. It sounds like the whole thing was staged. Operation Pet Lift is not active right now, Garth McCarthy. You're going to have to get your pets over on your own. And there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it, but it's costs you a fortune. So you got to really love those pets. Yep. Yep. I spoke about Pet Lift yesterday. That's correct. Hello, Darkness. My old friend Chris has come to talk to us again. Darkstream is funny. Oh, did you like that one, Garrett? Did you like that? Last night, the internet went out. The storms knocked out some node somewhere, and I didn't have internet for 3 hours. My mobile network was working, but very slowly. They were having problems too. Yeah, I know. So I that stuff like that, I don't bite on it. So I do bite on stuff like this because this is real. Apparently, this woman was an aide to Pocahontas.
I'm from the United States.
She was an aide to Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, and she went to Tehran, this American trader, for the funeral.
I'm from the United States. Marbar America. Marbar America.
Something tells me life won't go very smoothly for her when she comes back to America. Something tells me things won't go very well. What a retard. What a simpleton. What a dumbass. What a dumbass. Good evening, SMH. I can ask you something. We have 3 link cases. Yeah, you can ask questions now. The news is over. I don't know. Again, this portal. Stay away from the portal. So, they're real TikTok creators who are notorious for harassing people and recording the interactions. Okay, so you're saying it's not staged. Well, they make videos by harassing people. If the whole thing is cooked up, it's staged. This isn't like... See, that is staged, Arza. Thank you. You've just told me it is staged. They intentionally go around and harass people to generate content. So what this is trying to do is give people the impression that black people in America are coming up in supermarkets and harassing South Africans. No, these asshats like that jackass in London who broke into people's homes in the middle of the day, walked into their dinner, sat down and stole food from their table and threatened people's lives, broke into cars. That jackass, remember him? This isn't real. That's not real. That's not real. That's not real, Arza. Yeah, they're genuine creators, but that's not a real situation. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. It's fake. Yeah, it looked like a prank. Yep. People already traveled. What suitcase is better? One hard plastic one? No, you don't want a hard plastic one. Just get the best suitcase you can for the money you can. You're not going to use it again anytime soon anyway. South Africans are not involved or aware, so yes, you're right. But South Africans, exactly, Arza. That's what I'm going to tell them. So yeah, Arza. Yeah, I saw that. Their channel's called like Cocoa Nut or something like that. Yeah. Sent me a WhatsApp. Okay, Loretta. I mean, I've got thousands of WhatsApps. I haven't seen one from that guy in a long time. Loretta, if you sent me one, it's already... If you sent me something, I'm going to have to search because, oh, there it is. There it is. It's about 40, 50 messages down. I saw that last night. No, not last night. Did I see it this morning? No, okay, I'm sorry. That's not the one I saw. No, I did see your message earlier. I don't have an answer for you. I don't know what to say about that. Oh, wow. I'm sending messages from someone. One of the people was abusive towards me, just decided to delete all the messages. Unfortunately for them, I have them archived. Sorry, AK. AK, your messages are archived. So I don't know why you deleted them. Why don't you stand by them if you sent me those nasty messages? Wow. You call me rude and then you send me rude, nasty things, calling me names. About the Niners, if it was fake, a lot more of us would have gotten them. Exactly, Cool Beans. Exactly. If it was fake, a lot more people would have gotten them. Also, why would they single out the people they singled out? Again, I've not been looking for denial letter info, but 6 of the letters, 6 people got letters, 6 the day after. And some of those 6 people had told me that they didn't know what was going on. They said they're wondering why their case is taking so long. And those 6 people, there may be more. I haven't checked my email for that. I was looking for people who wanted to do interviews yesterday and answering some of those questions. Those 6 people all told me things that make it clear to me why they were denied. Yep. Yep. So anyway, here, let's take a look at those denial letters. That's one. But before that, let's look at the Democratic Socialists.
And, we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately.
So these clowns are Democratic Socialist America. Their mission is to destroy America. Amy Wilhelm. Well, there's a hot date right there. Democratic Socialist America in Seattle. No, they won't come out till tonight unless they did something unusual and released during the day. Let me look and see. Usually it comes out tonight. It'll probably come out while I'm busy watching the U.S. game against Belgium. No, it hasn't come out yet. The report has not been released yet. It will be released later on. So, no, it hasn't come out yet. No, that report comes out after work. They release it. It's one of the last things to do or get an evening. So the numbers will come up later today, Domino. Yeah. So Democratic Socialists of America, these retards, because that's what they are. They have retarded, stunted growth. They are stupid, stupid people. So let's get back to that. So here you go. Look at this hot date. She's such a lovely lady. Anyway, so let's see what she says.
Is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways.
Okay, I'm not convinced that's a woman. Is this a transgender person? The voice is too male. Too male.
That we can ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be.
This one's clearly transgender. This is clearly a transgender person here.
Reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
This is another. Look at these transgender. Portland.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers.
The leverage of workers. This person hasn't worked a day in their life.
To hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
These people are sick. That's their stated goal. And why shouldn't we declare them terrorists? Their goal is to overthrow the government. They made it clear. They should be rounded up. By the way, this nonsense about the SAVE Act and how the SAVE Act is wrong, Americans don't support it, the left is trying to tell you that. This is CNN. Now, the photo is a little pixelated, but that's because I took it from a very small video. This was on CNN in the morning, their morning show. Look at this. So, do Americans support photo identification to vote? The left says no. The Democratic Socialists of America say no. Zora and the Moran says no. Black supremacists say no because black people are too stupid to get ID, which is bullshit. Look what Americans say. 85% of white Americans are in favor of it. 82% of Latinos. And over 3/4 of black American adults support photo ID. Photo ID. 3/4 of blacks support photo ID. Wow. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? 85, 82 from Pew Research. Even CNN has to admit the truth. Even CNN has to admit the truth. 76% of black Americans support photo ID for voting. Yet they lie about it all the time. They lie about it all the time. Okay, so I was trying to get to the letters now. I want to go back to the letters and talk about the denial letters. Got to find my folder for that. Just did so much crap the last few days. There we go, denial letters. Okay, so here is a denial letter. Okay, it's actually a letter of ineligibility. All right, so first off, let's talk about this. We are told this isn't a real letter. Because they're all dated June 23rd. June 23rd is when the approval from the attorneys came through that they could issue letters that have been piling up for several months. So June 23rd was the date they were signed, and they're digitally signed by Kevin Grigsby. We're told that Kevin Grigsby is not at the Office of USCIS, but he's still listed on the directory and still listed as a person working there. We're told it's not a legitimate letter because it doesn't tell you anything. But in fact, this is how ineligibility letters go out. This particular person, whom I know, received a ineligibility letter. SF is a real case. I've covered up the case number. I've covered up the name so you cannot see them. Notice of ineligibility for continued processing for resettlement. We are writing to inform you that following review, USCIS found your application to be ineligible for continued processing for resettlement in the United States at this time. This cannot be appealed. Now, that is to a legitimate applicant, an aspirant, and this was in October that legitimate applicant's approval. They received a conditional approval in October. October 8th of 2025. Same case number, all of the individuals, in this case 5 people in the case, and they addressed it the person by name. Notice of eligibility for resettlement. They have since received an ineligibility letter. They've received an ineligibility letter because something came up and they're no longer eligible, and that's why they had to wait so long. In the real world, what should have happened is they should have received the ineligibility letter as soon as it was determined. But these things were not sorted. So then we have people trying to create all sorts of things. Someone did this, and they claimed what this is they sent that email, which we have no evidence of. This is simply a screenshot of someone getting an email back from USCIS, and they're claiming that USCIS says the email is invalid because it's not a .gov or because it ends in .com or .org. Well, if they have an email from that, I think that's bogus because I've seen the email address where these things came from and they're hhs.gov. So someone created this and they claim it's real, but no name attached to it, no email addresses, and we didn't see the underlying email that was forwarded. So let me ask you this question there, Last Domino. How does the bathrobe person know that these cases have all been forwarded to DHS? How does that person know that? That just means you're not eligible. If you later become eligible, that's not confusing at all, Meerkat. Let me explain. And I did this already. If you're a South African living in Qatar and you applied using a VPN and went and did the interviews, and then they find out your abode, your residence, where you actually live is in Qatar, you're not there on temporary employment, then you're ineligible. If you somehow return to South Africa and you're living in South Africa permanently, then you could be eligible. What that person is doing is, let me ask you this question. Why do South Africans believe people like that? Shouldn't someone have experience or at least qualifications or insight? Nothing that clown has ever said has come true, except that they're begging for money now. That's the only thing that's come true. And so I made a video telling people beware of false prophets, and I know what's said in that group. By the way, if you're in that Facebook group, which was closed, I never made a comment about this person. I was blocked long ago because they knew they were going to slander me and block me from their group and closed it. So if you're in that group, I wouldn't go in there and defend me. Don't do that. Just keep monitoring it. Save screenshots of the ludicrous stuff and the things that are stated in that group, which will lead to criminal conviction or civil conviction against that person. So yeah. So just don't defend me. I appreciate people defending me, but don't do that because they kick you out. The moment that you tell the truth and cite something that I cite from an actual source of my analysis, which proves to be correct, they block you in that group. So just, if you're in there, just, mum's a word. I know you're listening, bathrobe lady. You can't kick them all out because you don't have a following. Just a bunch of demented lunatics who don't understand reality. Again, how does people get this? And here's the thing. What I find so funny is that, well, that person has been helping South Africans since 2019. Well, I've been helping South Africans since 1985. Well, I don't know who you are, but you don't come in here and write all caps. So your message was deleted by my moderator. Try it again, and you're going to get blocked. Desperate people. Yeah, but the desperate people then echo the nonsense. They call me a liar, and I'm right every damn time. Denise, yes, and I saw your email. 15 months, no communication, no approval, no denial. Since the 1880s. Iserfontaine, where did that come from, Safa loading? Are you like an hour behind in the stream? No, before they were desperate, before anybody got denial letters, these scumbags were in there writing nasty shit about me. And some of them come in here and pretend to be all nice and everything, and then they run over there and they say lies. So I've got no respect for these people, and we know who you are. We know who you are, including one of them here who falsely claimed that I was nasty to the person. They were nasty to me. Nasty in the chat, nasty in personal messages, and we bent over backwards. We bent over backwards in the middle of the night, get someone there to protect that family and then house them temporarily, then get them to a damn hearing and then be... Anyway, look, the list just goes on and on of stupid people. So I can't help stupid people. Yeah, President Trump said we can repair our own vehicles. Well, we would always repair our own vehicles. It's not repair our own vehicles, New Olive. What it was is that people in America removed the controls that were put on their vehicles, which limited their capability to comply with bogus emission standards. So they removed him. One was a mechanic, so he removed it, and he was sentenced to prison for that. Prison for removing emission control standard. Trump has rescinded that nonsense. Gave them all a pardon. 6 Americans who were convicted of emissions on their personally owned vehicles. What a ridiculous country. No, at this time, Meerkat is not confusing. Again, I've explained that to people. Maybe cases were a bit behind got approved with the new stricter vetting. No, there's not new stricter. Why do people keep saying this? There's not stricter vetting. What evidence does anybody have that there's stricter vetting? Please, somebody tell me your evidence. I want to hear the evidence that says that there was stricter vetting. Show me how there's stricter vetting. They've always looked at your social media. They've always looked at your criminal record. And you're like, well, now they're demanding military records. Well, they've demanded military records all along. You're buying bullshit from people that don't know what they're talking about. I know people who had to submit military documents last summer, a year ago. They've been doing this all along. The differences aren't 59 people's cases come over. Now there's over 7,000 people coming over. And tens of thousands of people have done it. Where is your evidence of that? Ours, I'm not attacking you. That's not attacking you. But I keep hearing this over and over again. There's no stricter vetting. The stricter vetting started the day they started vetting South Africans. That's when it started. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Carlos says, most people love people that tell them what they want as opposed to those. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Carlos. Exactly right. And I get attacked all the time because I simply tell the truth. And they can't handle the truth. That's the problem. Ours says 9 to 10 months since sent for me, no movement on case. Yeah, well, ours. Unfortunately, you're not alone. There's plenty of people PRM. That's the problem. Oh, I did ignore her lies for a long time, Meerkat. Slander, defamation, attacking my character. I never attacked. Remember last year? When I made a video about green cards, and then that person made a video and called me out the so-called colonel. Look, sweetheart, I'm not a so-called colonel. I am a freaking colonel. And then, like, when I showed pictures of myself in combat, people were talking about it. She's like, oh, where did he serve in combat? 5 times. You know, the slimy, leftist, hate-wanking, disgusting, vile, repulsive human beings who denigrate veterans because they have no life to stand on is pathetic. Anyway, I didn't even mention the idiot by name. The so-called Colonel Chris Wyatt, lying to people. All that nonsense. Never mention name. And that's what's response. Oh, he's picking on me. I'm picking on a poor woman. I guess he was busy poisoning the puppies. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Bye, snippets. Exactly. I said from day one, refugees that come to the U.S. would undergo the strictest vetting, and now people are surprised. I said the only people who get more strict vetting are security clearance holders, like me in the military. Yeah, Hoppity, I don't know where that's coming from. I've seen Elon Musk write about it. I've seen Benny Johnson write about it. I cannot find the YouTube message that shows that. That's a screenshot that's grainy. I believe it, but I haven't seen it. So until I see evidence of it, I'm not going to, do an in-depth analysis of it. Exactly, Diana. That's why I said you were blocked for sticking up for me. She immediately got turned down. She is nasty. She's a horrible human being. I'm suspecting strict vetting because I was very surprised that some people approved. I know personally my opinion should not have been approved. Well, Arza, you know their criminal past. Do they have convictions? Were they sentenced to prison? Without revealing who they are. Look, the process isn't perfect. We grant clearances to people who betray us. We grant clearances to Hansen, Aldrich Ames, the head clearances at CIA and FBI, and they betrayed us for years. And then Johnny Walker back in the 1980s, the biggest crypto, these are American citizens. We vetted them, we checked them. They make mistakes. I didn't say the vetting process is perfect. I just said it was strict. So I will take your word, Arza, that there are people with criminal records. But do you know they were convicted of a crime? Or were they accused of a crime? Or are you just hearing that they were accused? Really wish people learn to listen and stop lending their ears to those buffoons gargling nonsense. Exactly. Well, you're right, Corey. People talk about things and they spread misinformation. I mean, look, so that one I just showed you, that was another thing that's just poppycock. What else have I got here? Let me see if I... So this one here. Okay, so I hear people coming to my chat keep saying, oh, it's a shame. These denial letters, a whole bunch of people have offed themselves. Really? I've seen no report. Do you think that the South African media would hesitate for 1 microsecond to run a story about a South African aspirant who was denied and then offed themselves? Ask yourself this question. It's now been a week. It's been a week. Thank you. It's been 1 week. I guarantee you, Adrian Basson, Peter DeToy would jump on this like leopards coming out of a tree going after a wounded impala. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. If they knew that a single South African offed themselves because they got an ineligibility letter to go to the U.S. You know why? This would be the story. Well, I'm telling you, this is horrible. Trump is a liar. Trump promised all these white farmers that go to America. Then he said no after making their way to year and selling all their goods. Think about it. Think about it. Use your brains. Those of you not using it. Most of my audience using their brains. Do you think for a microsecond they would hold back? No, even a whiff of that. They would run off and tell fairy tales and lie about Trump. Not one story. Not one story. Yet this posting, this gratuitous posting in a Facebook has got people coming all over and believing this bullshit, including in my chat. Including in my chat. South African Refugees Support USA. A last read from a depressed, desperate father, husband that can't take it anymore. This is not the easiest thing to do, but I just can't do it anymore. I'm done with my life. And people believe it. People believe it. What happened here, I've covered up the names because there was a phone number and a name included here. This is spread around in that group of hate wankers, and people read this and they spread around. Just like that fake video, which Arza Rose mentioned. It's real video. It's not AI. I didn't claim it's AI. It's a fake video. It was staged. It would be everywhere. It would be on it like white on rice. Interview 4 days later, received conditional approval. Their security checks weren't complete. Now they got it now. Well, then there must be something wrong in their case. Anthony Jones, sorry to hear that. Exactly, Dwayne Roosevelt. I've given all the information and we've been spot on all along. And the vetting process is supposed to be strict since the government has decided it's okay to let dogs peel across borders. Yep. And Ingrid says it would make headlines in a nanosecond. Yep. Hello, Nicolene Wenzel. Henny, what's going on? People jumping in here late. Appreciate it. Odin's Viking, as far as using your brain, says it's too painful if you haven't used the muscle for years. Well, I hadn't considered that. That's a good point, though. Yeah. White rice is racist. An ex-drug mule was furious with me for saying in chat that her chance of being accepted as refugee were slim. Diana Thompson, yeah, no, actually somebody contacted me that was a drug mule, and they initially said that before they got denial, like, why? I mean, what are we waiting on, basically? And then later admitted they were a drug mule. Yeah, I don't know if we're talking about the same person. Yeah, an ex-drug mule was furious. Well, it is not unfair. See, here's the problem, folks. Here's the problem. Your actions have consequences. Let's say, well, thank you, Devin, for becoming a subscriber. Let's say that you're 20 and you commit crimes. You get married at 35 to someone who's 21. Then you have 5 kids and you're suffering from persecution. You become the primary applicant. Your case is denied because you're a criminal. Is that fair to your children? No. But it's not because of the U.S. government. It's because of your conduct. It's because your criminal activity made you ineligible. You prevented your children and spouse from coming here, not the U.S. government. So is it fair? It's damn right it's fair. It's unfair by the stupid, foolish behavior of the person who committed those criminal acts. Yep, my U.S. tie sits on Facebook, and what happened was before I arrived in the U.S., massive fault because of the crap he was relaying to me. Well, Virtual Western Cape, is that still your U.S. tie? And I don't know who your U.S. tie is, but what I will say is that if your U.S. tie listen to stuff on Facebook, your U.S. tie is stupid. CRC heads, what's that mean? Welcome to you. Jezebel Gaming. One thing I've learned is never to let my ear out to people. Yep. Who is DHS? Department of Homeland Security. Hi. Are you behind in the chat, or are you listening to bullshit being spread on other groups? Arza says, do you think the U.S. knows about those really, really bad right-wing groups I mentioned in my previous message? Yeah, they do. Probably because the people... Look, okay, being right-wing is not a crime. Being right-wing doesn't make you unsuitable. Being left-wing doesn't make you unsuitable. Committing acts or advocating for danger makes you unsuitable. There's a difference. Just like people upset that Lawrence McDonald, a former ANC member of Parliament in America, they're upset about that. Why? Did he commit a crime? Did he advocate for racism or bigotry or hatred, anti-Semitism? No, he didn't. And he was persecuted. So what's people's problem? Yeah, he is stupid, Virtual Western Cape. Sever contact. All is good. I've just been waiting more than 2 weeks now for USA to approve my case. Army veteran. 2 weeks, I don't know what that means. Were you interviewed 2 weeks ago? Marissa eats cheap rice. Brown sugar. Waiting is frustrating, but put your faith in God. Well, that's good advice, Stephen. Colonel loved the bulk of commentary Saturday. Oh, well, thank you, Eugene. I appreciate it. Thank you. We gained over 130 subscribers. I wish it had been about 1,000. Would have been nice. But yeah, we're so far behind things like the Kiwi Lads and all that. But they've got money behind them and they've got resources. I don't have the ability to put the clock on screen. I've been trying to research. I still haven't found a way to do it. Still here, but staying quiet. Tickets canceled. In January, I have 2 approval letters. Only have suitcase. Wow, on the move. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know why. Yeah, there was something strange happened in January, and I think it had nothing to do with denials. I think it had to do with something administrative that was going on. But there was a week where a bunch of people were canceled. No reply from them for 2 weeks. Okay, Henny, but you didn't answer my question. Were you just interviewed 2 weeks ago? If you were interviewed 2 weeks ago and you're waiting for a reply, you have unrealistic time frame. It's going to take longer than that. No. But Colonel Chris, those groups I'm talking about are groups that like to talk about how they're planning to use private planes with flamethrowers. I've never seen somebody make a comment. Okay. I've never seen a comment like that on my channel. You're saying you know the people that are in that group, and that group said that, and you've seen them in my chat. Okay, I haven't seen them. But my case is complicated. The Colonel knows about it. Yes, Pizza Party, your case is a strange one. Interview in February. Okay, all right. Well, that's a bit of a wait then, Henny. Yeah, if you're interviewing in February, yeah, that's... But I mean, we got people from February and March of last year that are still coming over now. DeBardman, okay. Thank you for listening to my advice. I appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button, folks, if you haven't done that already. That like button's just waiting for you to push it. Just when I saw someone said that denial letters are under review. No. That's okay. Well, that's what someone's claiming in the group. And my question is, I don't know if that's true. How do they know that? Yep. Hey, Van, what's going on? Welcome to you. Yeah, so anyway, Cool Beans, it's because they love you. Oh, the pizza party's talking to Cool Beans. Yeah, anyway. So should I do a poll? I'm not going to do a poll. I was going to do a poll. Should I come to South Africa? No, I'm not going to do a poll. Because I know somebody will say no. And they'll hurt my feelings. They'll hurt my feelings. Broken Arrow is so glad he left his this madness behind months ago. Yeah, well, you're in Plano now, aren't you? Yep. Yep. Oh, the storm was very bad, Meerkat. Not so bad here, although, so I had put out 13 flags. See, on the sidewalk in front of my house, which runs along the street in the residential neighborhood, there's a gap on the sidewalk where they pour the cement and they put a little buffer in there so that it can give, so that it doesn't crack, and they do that every so many feet. So I put out for Veterans Day, for Memorial Day, for 4th of July, I put out 13 flags. They're about this big. They're on a pole, wooden pole. I plant them out there. It was a little hard because the ground was pretty stiff, so I took a garden tool and pushed it in the ground to loosen up the soil, and I put 13 flags out there. I put them out on July 1st, and I was going to leave them up for a whole week, but that storm came yesterday, and I saw it coming. We had a warning, and then I grabbed my rain jacket, which was smart because I would have been drenched like a rat if I hadn't done it. I still got pretty wet because the wind was blowing about 40 knots. I went out and it was blowing right in my face, so I turned and walked backwards in the street in bare feet with my raincoat on. And then I pulled all the flags up, shook off the water, and collected all 13, plus I have one up by the house, so 14, brought them back in the house. The storm was bad. High winds ripped down trees all over just about 15, 20 kilometers north of me, but the mountain over here to the west of me appears to have shielded us from most of the wind here. And so this neighborhood and this area was, I think, largely protected from the worst of that storm. But it was pretty bad. There are, this morning, I think, 12,000 people without power just north of here. Well, I've got power. But I never lost power, but it fluctuated a couple times. But, you had a combination of things. You had power lines going down because of the winds and the trees falling on them. And you had trees are ripped up by their roots. You have, and it's been dry for a long time, so so it was pretty impressive. You got power going out there, plus you had this massive drain on the grid because everyone's running aircon because it was so hot before the storm. So a combination of factors. I lost internet for at least 3 hours last night, and I tried live stream when it said it was back, and I tested it was good, and then 4 minutes in the broadcast it just disappeared. So. You want me to go to Plano instead of Gordons Bay? I don't know about that. I'd take Gordons Bay over Plano any day. No, South Africa's not getting better, unfortunately. If you guys don't hear something soon because of the severity of your case, would you guys qualify for asylum country like Switzerland? Probably not. Probably not. First off, you can't have asylum unless you're in a country. You get asylum when you enter a country, if you enter legally. A poll on people who's waiting for tickets, all process successfully completed, would be interested. Okay, last time. No, we're up to 371. Oh, no, the wind wasn't too bad. My solar panels are fine. In fact, I'm probably collecting. Let me see if I'm collecting any power right now. Oh, my phone's fully charged. Let's see. It's on the top screen. There we go. I have to get a new phone soon. I've had this for 6 years. That's a long time for a mobile. But I'm afraid to get news. Maybe my session expired. Log in again. Oh, for God's sake. This is annoying. How did my session expire? Ridiculous. Oh, gee, many crickets. Now I've got to find my password. I don't know if I even saved the damn thing. I might be in trouble here. I might not be able to get in my app again. Do I have one? Oh, that might be it. Let me see. Okay, that might be good. Let's see if that works. I think I guessed the right one. Nope, incorrect. Pfft. How is that possible? Oh, that's why I mistyped my word. I got to redo the whole thing now. Okay. Okay, now I'm in. I'm just checking my solar. No, I don't want to use biometric. Not now. Just let me in the damn app. Okay, it must be cloudy outside. It's generated 6 kilowatts today. Okay, I'll have to take a look and see. But, yeah, yesterday not a whole lot because it was cloudy. But I've been getting over 30 every day this past week. So I got 45 one day, 2 days, and over 30. So for the month, just 6 days in, I already have 214 kilowatts. Wow. That'll get me over a megawatt for the month easily if it keeps up. I typed it incorrect. Yep. Password is not password. My voice is my password. I'm Jürgen Smellis. My voice is my password. Sneakers. Yeah, but I've taken probably 1 million photographs with the Samsung S21 Ultra. It's getting up there. It's getting up there. In Night Owls with a flashlight, it looked like a scary movie. Yeah, it did, didn't it? But that light is so damn bright. That thing is massive, man. I could poach with that thing. Administrator. That is not my password. Well, Ireland won't give you asylum. We already know that. White South Africans beginning denied asylum left and right in Ireland while they handed out to people from the third world. Yep. Do a poll where you should go in South Africa. P being one option. P. No, but if I do a poll, people are going to say Western Cape. I guarantee it. Well, let me pick some unusual places. Let's see. Should the Colonel... Okay, start a poll. Should... Okay, which place should the Colonel visit rather than the others? Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. And one more. Let me see. Okay, here we go. There's a poll. All right, there's a poll. Which place should I visit? So if those 4 places, I had to pick one of those 4 places, which one should I visit over the others? Let me know. Let me know. Ooh, Nels started out well. Just a couple people, a couple votes. Yep. Travel, they ask, no, if you apply to be a refugee in a country and denied, therefore you're a risk to that country. No, that's not true. That's not true. Being denied a refugee doesn't prevent you from traveling a country unless there's a reason for it. If you're not qualified, then it affects you. But if there's a reason, like being a criminal, then yes, that's true. But being ineligible, that's why they're ineligibility letters. Ineligibility can be for a lot of reasons, cool beans. A lot of reasons. Linux versus Windows. Hoppity Linux is a great operating system, but I don't use it. It's not ubiquitous. It's great for coders, great for programmers, great for businesses. I don't use Linux. Red Hat Linux is something I was going to adopt years ago, but then IBM bought it and I kind of drift away from it. Yeah, I know Ronaldo left a gift for me in Orania. Yep. Good night, Ingrid. 100 votes, so we've got a representative sample so far. Hey, Pistons, what's going on with you? How you doing? Oh, I got more message here. It's probably about the veteran stuff. No, it's not the veteran stuff. Okay. Cool photo. That's a cool photo. I love that photo. All right, folks. So I don't know if he's here, but I'm going to have an interview on Thursday. It is Thursday. I agreed to do it, right? Thursday morning, we'll have an interview with a South African family who's in America as refugees. The father's white. The mother's black. The children are mixed race. I thought it was only for white farmers. Once again, we will destroy the narrative. We will destroy the narrative. Also, I'm trying to schedule the interview with a lady from Georgia who went back, and a journalist is asking for access to her, and I promised to ask. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll do that. But that person does want to appear on camera, which is fair. I've heard nothing back from the U.S. government about the letters, Arza, that I could share. Well, that's not true. I do have contacts with the U.S. government that have confirmed the letters are real. So, I mean, I'll leave it at that, okay? Just remember seeing that tick box. Yeah, no, I got you, Cool Beans. I got you. No, it doesn't automatically prevent, but it will lead to additional scrutiny. Let's go back to the case of the person that's in gutter and they were denied, they got ineligibility letter. Okay? That's not really a denial. That means you're not eligible at this time because you're living in gutter. You don't live in South Africa. So if that person then applies for a visa to go to Schengen visa, and if you're asked the question, have you ever been refused, entry for asylum or denied asylum or refused entry as a refugee, and you click yes, that doesn't mean you're automatically denied. It could, but it shouldn't. What it means is they should look and see. They would likely contact the country that said you're ineligible, the U.S., and the U.S. would say they would share between them. Well, the reason the person was denied is because they weren't a refugee. Okay, well, then there's no reason you can't come to the Schengen zone. Does that make sense? That's how it's supposed to work. But border agents, who knows? They're always the turds. So, yeah. Irania has been done again and again by everyone, including myself. It's a great place, but overused. I'll tap right now. In 6 years, I haven't gone to Irania. I've interviewed Yus Stridham a couple of times. I've met him at the AfriForum Theater in Pretoria in person. I've met him in D.C., or not in D.C., in Baltimore, when I gave him a tour of the Inner Harbor with Ernst Rutz. The association, I've been talking to him since 2000, but never been to Irania because I've never felt the need to go there. But people keep making a big deal about it. So I'll go and I'll get 3,000 views on the video. Love to meet you in person, but honestly, I don't think it's safe for you. Your safety is more important than meeting you someday. Thank you, Meerkat. Remember to do an interview with my daughter, then you can prove the Asian narrative also, Loretta. Is your daughter going to do an interview with me? I don't know, Loretta. Okay. Did she offer to do an interview? I don't recall. I should, because I really need to knock this stuff down. Also, I need to get my voucher in. I got to fix my voucher to get my claim for my money back from those people. Yep. At least for me, there was a senior supervisor that my officer referred to and go talk to and said it's referred to higher ups for adjudication. Sending my grandson in school holiday to robotics and coding at University of Pretoria. So excited he got 90%. Well, congratulations, Joey. That's awesome. Yeah, Lorraine, I've never been to Irania either. So anyway, all right. Cool beans. We've been doing this for 2 hours, folks. Can you believe that? 2 hours. I didn't realize it'd been that long. So I need to get some work done. So maybe we should wrap it up here, huh? Should we wrap it up? Being in 11 countries isn't necessarily the problem, Pizza Party. It's 11 countries you went to. Some of them might be the problem. Yeah, looks like Irania is winning. Looks like Irania is winning. That's interesting. Irania and the Karoo. You've been the Free State. Well, I've been the Free State too, many, many times. Told me she would. She's married. Yeah, I know she's married to Filipino. I know that. Yep. I know that. That was a whole part of the problem. And also, I think he's got a child from a previous relationship in the Philippines he's trying to get over. And it's problematic. Yep. So, yeah. No, I didn't recall if she would do the interview. All right. I'm pretty sure I have her listed in my book under... Hang on a second. Let me make sure I can find it. Yep, I got her. So I just sent her a message, okay? Just sent her a message. You're welcome for the news, guys. Good night. Yeah, I am a busy guy. A song? No need for a song today, guys. That's not. Let me close the poll. 45% for Irania. That's interesting. So that's pretty interesting. And nobody wants Miguel Nosbrot. Oh no, to Polokwane. Nobody wants. I kind of figured that. I didn't think Polokwane was going to be a big draw. So yeah, there are people up there though who've asked me to come, and it's more than one. That's for darn sure. But, I don't know if and when I'll get back to South Africa. It's pretty crazy. All right, guys. Irania might not be a bad place at all. At least we know it's too far from Julius to travel. You're welcome, guys. Be well out there and have a good day. I'll be watching USA tonight. I'll also be watching the Spain game later on. Took the liberty and sent you. Thank you, Ingrid. That's fine. Okay. What's in Polokwane? Petersburg. Cheers, everybody. Have a good one. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate your support for the channel. Take care. Did we get any super chat revenue here? We got one super chat, I think. Thank you for that super chat. That's going to do it. And one new member. Thank you for that. Cheers, everybody. Be well.